Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Chris Black's NJPW Report. I am your host, the natural Chris Black, one of the hosts of the Saturday Night SlamCasters Podcast and independent professional wrestler. I'm here to talk about New Japan, the very best presentation of pro wrestling on the planet. And I have quite the show for you guys today. A couple things that we're going to be going over. The review of last week's NJPW Strong episode. I'm going to talk about the first 4 nights of the New Japan Road tour. That was on September 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 9th. I'm going to give you a preview of the final night of the New Japan Road. Talk about an interview with Katsuyori Shibata. Go over the 20 participants involved in this year's G1 Climax tournament. And of course, I'll have my preview for tonight's episode of NJPW Strong. But before I get into all that, just want to take the time to ask you guys to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to ring the notification bell so you are alerted every week when new episodes are put up. So, without further ado, let's get into last week's episode of NJPW Strong. So we had 4 matches to go over. The very first match involved the debut of Fred Rosser tagging with Alex Zane, defeating Clark Connors and the DKC. So I think this is a pretty good match. Rosser gets the pin on DKC with the gut check. I can see that Rosser is going to be a good fit for New Japan. However, I'm going to be pretty interested to see how he fares against some of the harder hitters of New Japan. See if he can really hang with the New Japan style. I mean, let's see Fred Rosser against Minoru Suzuki. Let's see how he fared against a guy named Tai Chi or Ishimori. I guess only time will tell. I think that Fred Rosser has the talent. Does he have the toughness? Again, I guess only time will tell. Very next match, you had Carl Fredericks getting a win over Mysterioso. Carl Fredericks was able to pick up this big win, and I have to say that I enjoyed this match. I've always enjoyed Carl Fredericks' works. I'm glad to see that he was able to defeat Mysterioso. I really wish Carl Fredericks would have been named in this year's G1 Climax tournament. Might be a little too soon for that, but there's always next year. In the next match, you had Hikuleo defeating Brody King. I think I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Hikuleo. Hikuleo is the younger brother of the members of Guerrillas of Destiny. This was truly a battle of the big men. Hikuleo nails Brody with the gunslinger for the victory. Although these guys are pretty big, Hikuleo, to me he's kind of lanky. Good worker, but maybe needs to put on a little bit of muscle mass to really look like a beast. I mean, like I said, he got the height. He just doesn't have the size. All right, in the main event, you had Jay White taking on Flip Gordon. And, you know, Jay White normally goes to his regular approach to the start of a match, going out to the outside to kind of frustrate his opponent. Both guys put on a great match with Jay White picking up the win with a Blade Runner. So the very next, there was about 5 nights in the New Japan Road. Oh my God, the New Japan Road tour. I'm gonna talk about the first 4 nights for you. September 3rd, September 5th, 6th, and the 9th. So you know how New Japan does it. A lot of their smaller shows leading up to larger shows, there's a lot of multi-man tag matches, which is supposed to help tell stories, build to new matches, which they do a good job at. You will often hear me on the podcast complain about how Raw and SmackDown specifically normally book the same guys in the same matches over and over, week after week, and how it can just become so tedious. I don't know how New Japan does it so differently, but let me just get into it. So, I'm not going to go through match by match through the first 4 nights. I just want to pinpoint a couple things about these shows. Number one, I love to see how the young lions are getting some ring time, going to go up against some of the veterans. Night one, you had Yuji Nagata defeating Gabriel Kidd. Night two, you had Satoshi Kojima pinning Yota Tsuji. Night three, Yuji Nagata submitted Yuya Yamura. Night four, Satoshi Kojima pinned Yota Tsuji. So Tsuji got 2 matches, lost both of them. Yamura and Gabriel Kidd also failed to pick up a victory. I'm still new to a lot of this system. I don't know when they're going to allow the young lions to win, or if you're even supposed to win as a young lion. I like how, although these guys never pick up the victory, and they are in essence like someone would call jobbers, they don't feel like jobbers. Every time they're in a match, I'm convinced that they can win. So, again, another way that they're doing things a lot differently. The guys that are supposed to be putting over the other talent and basically earning their dues, paying their dues, they still don't come off as jobbers. They still have worth, and people are still invested in their matches. Let's see. Okay, so, like I mentioned before, how they have match after match of the same people involved in the same matches, and how New Japan just does it better. So a lot of this tournament involved 8-man matches, which involved Kota Ibushi and Tanahashi on one side, with Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. on the other side. So they furthered this Dangerous Tekkers and Golden Aces feud by having, 3 sets? 1, 2, 3. 3 different matches on 3 different nights. They might have substituted some other members of Suzuki-gun, but for the most part, it was always Zack Sabre Jr., Tanahashi, and a combination of like Yugi Nagata or Hanma. Kota Ibushi team won 2 of the 3 matches, with Suzuki-gun only winning 1 of them. Again, each match was different. Each match still built that feud, still maintained the feud. And I'm looking forward to maybe Ibushi and Tanahashi taking the titles off of Dangerous Tekkers. But for some reason, I don't think they're going to actually do it. Another point that I want to cover on this tour was how they also promoted a lot of the Los Ingobernables de Japan versus the Bullet Club feud that's going on. You had teams involving LIJ taking on members of the Bullet Club, mostly being Evil, Takahashi, and Jado. Again, they might have switched out some of the other members of the Bullet Club. But LIJ was normally always Sanada, Tetsuya Naito, and Shingo Takagi. So 6-man tags, where you had LIJ winning on each of the 3 nights. So they got 3 victories over the Bullet Club, which is kind of disappointing, but that just sets up for a big win between the two groups coming up. Okay, and the main focus of this tour has been crowning new champions, new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions to be more specific. So in this tournament, you had the team of Wato and Taguchi, Master Wato that is, the team of Gedo and Ishimori, representing the Bullet Club, Kanemaru and El Desperado, representing Suzuki-gun, and Bushi and Takahashi, representing LIJ. So in the end, Wato and Taguchi won 1 match, lost 2. Gedo and Ishimori also, disappointingly, lost 2 matches and only won 1. So the final match between the two will take place on the final night of the New Japan Road Tour. Will be Kanemaru and El Desperado versus Bushi and Takahashi. both of which have won 2 matches and lost 1. So that's probably a good segue into September 11th at Korakuen Hall. You have the final night of the New Japan Road tour taking place. You got 5 big matches for that. As you're probably listening to this now, this has already taken place earlier this morning due to the different time zones. I have not watched it yet, but this is my take on what I will probably be enjoying later on today. In the first match, you have some of the young lions taking on some of the veterans. Veterans being Honma, Nagata, and Kojima taking on Gabriel Kidd, Tsuji, and Yamura. You know, I'm always going to root for the young lions in this case. And actually, a 6-man tag, it would be great to have them gain the victory over the veterans. I can dream. I'm going to go for the young lions, even though they probably won't win. I think I want to go for the young lions. Second match, you have Kota Ibushi, Tanahashi, Taguchi, and Master Wato taking on the team of Suzuki Gun with Minoru Suzuki, Zack Sabre Jr., Tai Chi, and Daoki. I think that Suzuki Gun is going to take the victory in this match because, again, they lost so much during the tour. I think they're going to get a big win at the end. Or they might go for the good feel and have Kota Ibushi and Tanahashi actually pin either Zack Sabre Jr. or Tai Chi, setting up an inevitable tag match down the line. In the third match, you have Los Ingobernables de Japan, Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Tagaki, and Sanada taking on Bullet Club members Evil, Yujiro Takahashi, and Dick Togo. Like I said before, I think them losing the first 3 matches in this tour, I think that this is going to come with a big win. Possibly Evil pinning Naito. Although the way New Japan books, this isn't WWE. I don't think they'll have their champion lose in a tag match. But again, I'm taking Bullet Club for the win in this match. In the fourth match, we will have the Never Openweight 6-man tag team championships taking place between Chaos members versus Chaos members. In Team 1, you have Yoshihashi taking on Hiroki Goto and Tomohiro Ishii. And in Team 2, you're going to have Kazuchika Okada, Sho, and Toru Yano. Oh my God. Of these 2 teams, I'm probably going to go with the team of Yoshihashi, Hiroki Goto, and Ishii. Although Okada has never held the Never Openweight 6-man tag team championships, I can't see Toru Yano and Sho. Yeah, I'm going to go with Yoshihashi's team. And in the main event, we have the finals of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship Tournament. We have Los Ingobernables de Japan members Himuro Takahashi and Bushi taking on Suzuki Gun members El Desperado and Yoshinamo Kanemaru. Gee, this is a tough one. But I'm going to have to go with El Desperado and Kanemaru walking away with the championships. Yep, so that'll do it for Korakuen Hall, the final night of the New Japan Road Tour. Alright, next thing I want to talk about is I came across an interview with Katsuyori Shibata. And I just want to focus on the parts where he talked about the Young Lions and his opinion on that. If you don't know who Shibata is, for years he competed with the best in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he took on the challenge of leading the LA Dojo and has successfully taken on the Japanese commentary role on NJPW Strong. So a couple things that I want to take away from this interview. So he took over, I forgot, I don't know what year, I guess I didn't look that up, what year he took over for lead training at the LA Dojo. But he talked about how proud he was of Carl Fredericks for winning the Young Lion Cup, which was themed around LA Dojo versus Nogi Dojo. And it kind of solidified or put the seal of approval for the way he trains his guys in LA. When asked what are you looking for in recruits for the LA dojo, Shibata said that he's always looking for people with heart. Once you've passed the elimination process, he feels that you have shown that you have the heart to stay or to have earned your spot. When talking about Gabriel Kidd, he says how dedicated Gabriel Kidd is to learning and how hungry he is. And when he asked who interests him in New Japan Pro Wrestling now, not even surprisingly, he says Yumura, which, as you probably have heard, I'm a big fan of Yumura, and I see big things for him as well. Shibata says that, he quotes, you can see just how much heart he puts in all of his matches, and I have to agree. I am always looking for that Yumura win. I never get it, but hopefully, maybe during the next year's Young Lion Cup, your winner is probably going to be Yumura, and don't be surprised if you see him graduate from being Young Lion probably within the next year or so. All right, so let's talk about the G1 Climax 30. So I have both blocks. New Japan released all the names of all the participants in this year's tournament. So in the A block, you have Kota Ibushi, Tomohiro Ishii, Okada, Shingo Takagi, Yujiro Takahashi, Taichi, Minoru Suzuki, Jeff Cobb, Will Ospreay, Jay White. And can I just say that I was glad to see that talent such as Jeff Cobb, Ospreay, Jay White, and some other people on this list were able to compete in this tournament. I thought it was going to be more like the New Japan tournament where they only have talent available that were already in Japan. But in the B block, you have Hiroshi Tanahashi, Hiroku Goto, Toru Yano, Yoshihashi, Sanada, Naito, Evil, Zack Sabre Jr., Juice Robinson, and Kenta. Once again, surprise to my delight that I saw Kenta, Juice Robinson, Zack Sabre Jr. has been on it. Especially seeing that those two actually are going to be able to compete in this year's tournament. Big fan of Juice. Big fan of guys like Sanada. All right, so when I started thinking about who was going to win this tournament, man, this was hard. I'm going to start with the B block. I think Sanada is going to take the win on the B block. I thought he would win last year, but I was wrong. A block is a little easier. I can see Jay White winning the A block. So when you get down to the final match between Jay White and Sanada, as much as I love Sanada, I'm going to think that Jay White is going to walk away with the win on this one. A couple reasons I kind of think that Jay White's going to win. First of all, Jay White came pretty close to winning last year's NJPW G1 Climax tournament. I think he needs to re-solidify his role as leader of the Bullet Club. I think that the long-term booking has always been Bullet Club versus LIJ for the past, since Wrestle Kingdom 14. And I can see Jay White totally taking the heavyweight title away from, if Naito is still holding it, he's going to take it from Naito. If not, whoever the champ is, I think Jay White's going to win. I don't know if they're going to do double titles, as Naito has stated that he wants to kind of defend them separately moving forward. I think if it wasn't for the global pandemic, I really would say that Jay White will probably have won the New Japan Cup. And I think he would have actually won against Naito and became double champion. I think they substituted Evil because Evil was available and Jay White was not. I think that the turn by Evil was going to be inevitable and was going to happen at some point. But since Jay White wasn't available for the tournament, they kind of fast-tracked it, turned Evil, joined the Bullet Club. He defeated Naito for the double championship, which was short-lived as Naito has regained it. But I don't think that Evil's going to go, kind of down the totem pole. I think Evil's going to stay as a main player. I think he's earned that spot. But again, I can't wait till the G1 Climax tournament starts on September 19th. I'm going to be front and center to watch every single night. All right, let's get into tonight's preview for NJPW Strong. They have 3 matches planned for tonight. You have Rocky Romero taking on Danny Limelight. Danny Limelight was on, I believe, 2 weeks ago in a match against Jordan Clearwater. I can't believe I remembered his name right off the top of my head. I think Rocky Romero is going to get the win over Danny Limelight. Although I could be shocked. Danny Limelight had a pretty good debut. Well, I don't know if it was his debut, but my first time seeing him was a couple weeks ago. But I think Rocky Romero was going to get the pin. Then you have the Guerrillas of Destiny taking on David Finlay and PJ Black. I'm going to have to go with Guerrillas of Destiny on this one. And in the third match, you're going to have Kenta taking Jeff Cobb. And Jeff Cobb is going to be challenging for the IWGP US title, right to challenge that Kenta won the New Japan Cup. I think Kenta's still going to win this match. I don't think Jeff Cobb is going to take that right to challenge away from him. I still want to see Kenta versus Jon Moxley. Kenta has already called out Jon Moxley. Jeff Cobb versus Jon Moxley, could be a good match. Definitely was one of my favorite Moxley matches from last year's G1 Climax. Didn't too much like their match in AEW, but I don't want to see Moxley versus Jeff Cobb for the U.S. title. I'd rather see Kenta face him for that title and actually beat him for it. So with that will do it for today's edition of Chris Black's NJPW Review. Be sure to tune in next week. Hopefully I can get it out on Thursday on time, as this is supposed to be a Thursday show. Be sure to, again, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Share it with some of your friends that are also fans of New Japan. While you're on YouTube, why don't you go on over to the Saturday Night SlamCasters YouTube channel, where we have exclusive reviews and interviews separate from our normal podcast. We cover shows like the Dark Side of the Ring series, the Ruthless Aggression series, and the Undertaker The Last Ride documentary. Next week, Wednesday, we will be dropping the final episode of Season 2 of Dark Side of the Ring, covering Owen Hart. You definitely don't want to miss that, so won't you go ahead and hit the subscribe button while you're over there, because you definitely want to check out the Owen Hart review, as well as all the other episodes of our Dark Side of the Ring reviews. After that, we're going to be debuting our Undertaker The Last Ride series reviews, starting with episode 1, coming in about a month. As for the Saturday Night SlamCasters podcast, again, we release new episodes every second and fourth Saturday of every single month. We have a new episode going up tomorrow. Be sure to check that out. And the episode after that is going to be our 2-year anniversary episode. Can't believe we've been on the game for 2 years already. Be sure to subscribe to the Saturday Night SlamCasters podcast, available wherever you get your podcasting fix. As always, you can give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter, Instagram and on Facebook at The Natural Chris Black. Follow me on Twitter at @the_natural_CB. Be sure to give the Saturday Night SlamCasters Facebook page a like. Find us at SlamCasters. Again, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next week, Thursday, hopefully, when I release the next episode of Chris Black's NJPW Review. See you next time.